So today we're going to do a review on yesterday's lesson. So remember, yesterday's lesson was how do we use a ratio table, and we take that ratio table and we make a double line diagram. So we're working from ratio tables that we should all be familiar with to now a double line diagram or a double number line. So we're going to have a ratio table. And how do we take that and now we turn it into a double number line diagram? Okay, so let's start with our first problem. So our first problem is this. So here's going to be my first problem. I'm going to write off to the side a ratio table. I'm going to say it's stars and triangles. I'm going to say for every one star, I'm going to have 4 triangles. So if I have 2 stars, that means I would have 8 triangles. 3 stars, I would have 12 triangles. 4 stars, I would have 16. So now what I do is I'm going to take that and I'm going to copy it to my tape diagram. So here, I'm just going to copy it. This is going to be my stars, and this one will be my triangles. So for 1 star, it's going to be my first point, my second one, my third, and my 4. Now notice how this 1 goes with the 4. So if I have 1 star, I'm going to have 4 triangles. So directly above the 1 is going to be that 4 for the triangles. Directly above the 2 is going to be that 8. Directly above the 3 is the 12. And directly above the 4 is that 16. So what this means is it's the same thing as my ratio table. If I have 2 stars, I can look straight above and I see I'm going to have 8 triangles. Okay, so what that means also is if I have this many triangles, I'm going to look straight down and right below there's going to be that many stars. If I have this many stars, I can look straight up and that will tell me how many triangles I have. The problem is I don't know what this is or what this is. So that's what we're going to work on right now. Okay, so let's work on this problem. I'm going to have the same ratio table. I'm just clearing it off. So since I have the same ratio table, that means that my double number line is going to be the same also. What if I have this many triangles? I have 6 triangles. Well, I know that 6 is going to be in between 4 and 8, so I'm just going to say it's right here. Then I can look down and I know I'm going to have this many stars. My problem is I know what this is. This is a 6. Where did I get that from? Well, I got that from here. However, I don't know how many stars I have. So I have to figure out what is this mystery number right here. So what I do is this. I need to figure out how far my scale is. So how far is it from one number to the next? I'm going to work on my star or my triangles because I have my triangle number here. So I'm going to work on that. So I need to figure out how far is it from here to here. Or how far is it from here to here? Well, you should notice that it is 4. For every single example, I'm increasing by 4. So from here to here is how much? It's 4. From here to here is how much? It's 4. So I'm going to use that for my piece of information. Now I have to figure out how many jumps did I go from here to here. I know the total is 4, but I need to figure out how many jumps I went. What I mean by jumps is how many times did I count by 1? So I'm going 1, that would give me 5. Another one, that would give me 6. Another one, that would give me 7. Another jump, that would give me 8. So here I can see, I can just verify how I got that 4. It's 4 jumps to get from 4 to 8. I count by 1 4 times. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to check how many jumps until I got to my target number, until I got to that 6. Well, it took me 1, 2 jumps. It took me 2 jumps. How many jumps, though, is it to make a hole? So a hole is from one number to the next. Well, it took me 1, 2, 3, 4. So it took me 4 jumps. So this is my fraction. Tells me I went 2 jumps, 1, 2, out of a possible 1, 2, 3, 4 jumps. So again, think of a fraction. A fraction is your parts out of your wholes. So I went part of the way. How many parts did I go? I went 2 parts. Out of how many jumps to make a hole? Well, it would take 4 jumps to make a hole. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this, and that means that I went 2/4 of the way. When I went to that mystery number spot being 6, I went 2/4 of the way. I can reduce that also to 1/2, but for right now I'm just going to leave it as 2/4. So now what do I need to do? Well, I know I went 2/4 of the way across my number line, but what is 2/4? Well, it's 2/4 of however big my unit was. My unit was 4. So it's going to be 2/4 of 4. When I have the phrase blank of blank, so here my blank is 2/4 of 4, this of means I'm going to multiply. So I'm going to do 2/4 of 4, or 2/4 times 4. So what does that mean? Well, when I'm multiplying fractions and whole numbers, put my whole number over 1, and I just multiply straight across. So I'm going to get 8, 2 times 4 is 8, and I'm going to get 4. 4 times 1 is 4. So that's 8/4. That is going to simplify to 2. So that means that I went 2 jumps over. And then this 2, well, I'm starting at 4, so that's going to be 2 plus 4, or I can count 4, 5, 6. So that's just showing me how I know this 6 is. This is the hard part, though, so please pay attention. What I need to do now is I need to figure out, how do I get this spot over here? Well, I know I'm going the same number of jumps. I'm going 1, 2, or I can think of it as I'm going 1/2. I'm going to use that 2/4. But this time, my unit is not 4. Up here it was 4, but down here it's not. This time it's only 1. From 1 to 2, that's only 1 spot. So it's going to be 2/4 of 1, or 2/4 times 1. And what does that equal? Well, I'm going to put my whole number over 1, and then I multiply straight across. 2 times 1, that's 2. 4 times 1, that's 4. So this is 2/4, and that will simplify to 1/2. So this spot right here, up here I went 2 spots over. Down here, though, I'm only going 1/2 of the way. Now, as my answer, I only have 1/2 of a star when I have 6 triangles. Well, no, I already see that 6 is between 4 and 8. This number is going to be between 1 and 2. So what I have to do is I have to take this and I add it to the whole number that's right before. So this is going to be 1/2 because I've gone this far. So that's my 1 plus my 1/2. So my answer is I'll have 1.5 stars. So if I have 6 triangles, I have 1.5 stars. Okay, let's try another one. Here's my clean board. Now, I'm going to have the same thing. I'm going to have stars and triangles, but this time I'm going to have 3, 6, 9, 12 stars, and I'm going to have 5, 10, 15, 20 triangles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to label my number line. So here's going to be my stars. Here will be my triangles this time. And I'm going to label it. My stars, I start with 3, then 6, 12, and oops, I skipped one, not 12, 9, and 12. And then my triangles, I need to make sure they're the same, 5. Remember, my 3 and 5 should line straight up, so they're right up against each other. 6 and 10, they should be right above each other. 9 and 15, and 12 and 20. Now my question is this. What if I wanted to know how many triangles I have when I have 7 stars? Well, that's going to be kind of easy, but it's also going to be kind of difficult. What I need to do is I need to plot that 7 on my number line. So that 7 I know should be right about here, and I know my triangles will be right about here. And I know this is going to be 7. What I need to do now is I need to figure out my parts over my wholes. So my whole is how many jumps it is from here to here. So from 6 to 9, well, that's going to be 3. I can think of it as 9 minus 6, or I can think of it as 6, 7, 8, 9. It's going to be 3 jumps. Either way is fine. Then I'm going to check how many jumps did it take me to get to 7. Well, it took me 1 jump. So that's going to be my part. That part is going to be 1. So I'm going 1/3 of my number line. I'm only going 1/3 of my number line over this time. So now I'm going to take this bottom part, I'm going to do the same thing. My whole is how far is it from here to here? Well, it's 5 units. So my whole is going to be 5 this time. But now I have a problem. This 5 does not match this 3. So does that mean I'm only going 1/5 over, because that would be 11, 12, 13, 14, 15? No. This is where people are going to get confused. I'm going 1/3 over up here, so I'm only going 1/3 over right here. So on my number line, I'm still just going 1/3 over. I'm not going to go 1/5 over. So what I need to do though is I need to figure out 1/3 of 5. Why is it 5 this time? Well, because my whole for my triangles is however big my scale is, or my jumps. So from here to here is 5. From here to here is 5. From 0 to 5, that is also 5. So I need to figure out 1/3 of 5. So what is that? Well, that's our hard part now. So when I'm multiplying fractions, I put my whole number over 1. I just multiply straight across. So 5 times 1, that's 5. 3 times 1, that's 3. So I'm going to go 5/3 over. So what this means is this dot right here has moved 5/3. It's 1/3 of the way across, but it's representing 5/3. How big is 5/3? Well, I need to take this mixed number and change it, or I'm sorry, take this irrational number and change it to a mixed number. So what I do is I divide 5 by 3, goes in 1 time with the remainder of 2, and then I take my remainder, it's my numerator for my fraction, and my denominator is whatever my divisor was. So this dot, 5/3, is actually going to be 1 2/3. Now, is that my final answer? No, I should notice that my final answer should be somewhere between 10 and 15. And 1 2/3, well, that would be all the way over here. So what I need to do is this. I take however far this moved over 1 2/3, and I add it to 10. So I have 10 plus 1 2/3. What I do is I add my whole numbers together, so 1 plus 10, that's going to be 11. And then I add whatever my fractions are. All I have is 2/3, so I add 2/3 to that 11. So this is my final answer. How many stars will I or when I have 7 stars, how many triangles will I have? I will have 11 2/3. Okay, let's try one more, then we're going to be done. So here's my last one. If for every A I get this many B's, I'm going to construct a ratio. If for every 6 A's I get 10 B's, construct a double number line. So first I'm going to, before I make my double number line, I'm going to construct my ratio table so I can transpose it over. 12 and 20, 18 and 30, and 24 and 40. So I'm just going to copy this over. So I'm going to have A's for my top row, B for the bottom double number line. I'm just going to label it 6, 12, 18, 24. And on the bottom is going to be 10, 20, 30, 40. So here's my question now. What if I wanted to know how many A's I would have when B is, it's a good number. Let's do 11. So how many A's would I earn? Well, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to plot my B just so I get an idea. I see 11 should be between 6 and 12. So I'm just going to put this right here. And I'm just going to label that 11 so I know. What I need to do is I need to figure out how many jumps is it from 6 to 12. Well, it's going to be 6. So this would be 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it's going to be 6 jumps to make a hole. And I'm doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have 5 parts out of 6. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this dot. I'm going to make it straight down below. How far is this dot away from 10? Well, it is also 5/6 of the way. I've moved 5/6 of my number line. But I need to figure something out now. Now I need to figure out what is 5/6 of however big this bottom part is. This top part is always increasing by 6. So it's easy to find 5/6 of 6. 5/6 times 6, put that over 1. I will get 36, which equals 5. This makes sense because this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 plus 6, that's that 11. But I'm not going to do 5 down here. Why is that? Well, because my hole is a different number. From here to here is different. From 10 to 20, that's not 6 anymore. So it's going to be a different number. From 20 to 30, that's not 6. 30 to 40, that's not 6. So I need to ask myself, how much am I increasing by each time? Well, each time I'm increasing by 10. So what I need to do is I need to figure out 5/6 of 10. So 5/6 of 10, that means I multiply. So what is 5/6 of 10? Well, when I have a fraction and a whole number, I put the whole number over 1, and I multiply straight across. So I'm left with 50, 5 times 10, 6 times 1 is 6. I'm left with 50/60ths. I have to change this number now to what? Something useful. So I have to change it to my mixed number. So I'm going to do 50 divided by 6, This is why it's good to know your division facts. You'll be doing a lot. It's going to be 8 with a remainder of 2. This 2 becomes my denominator. My numerator. 6 becomes my denominator. 8 and 2, 6. I can divide the 2 and the 6 by 2 to reduce it even further. So it's going to be 8 and 1/3. So what this tells me is how far over this one moved. This is 8 and 1/3 of the way over. This one up here, it moved 5 over. 5/6 of 6 is 5. 5/6 of 10, what we did here, is 8 1/3. So let's think, is that my final answer? I'm just going to clear this up so we can look. Is 8 and 1/3 my final answer? Hopefully you see that it is not. Why is that? Well, 8 and 1/3 is not between 10 and 20. This just tells me how far along I moved. I moved 8 and 1/3 from my starting spot, which is right here. So what I have to do is I have to add 10, that's where I started, and I add 8 and 1/3 to it. So what am I going to do? Well, 10 plus 8 and 1/3, I add my whole numbers together. So that's 18, and then I add my fractions together. So that's 18 and 1/3. All right, good luck. What you're going to do is on Socrative, you're going to answer one question, but it's going to ask you step by step. Your question that you're going to answer is this. If I have this ratio table, it's going to be stars to triangles, and my ratio table is for every 3 stars, I have 4 triangles. I'm just going to fill that out for us. How many triangles would I have if I have 11 stars? So please answer the questions on Socrative. I'm going to label this for you, so you may use it. You may copy it down if you need to write more. Okay, so what you're going to do is on Socrative, you're going to answer the questions that accompany this. Good luck. When you're done, if you have time, you may play math games once you've answered all of your questions on Socrative. So your directions are answer all the questions on Socrative, then you may play math games. Good luck, and I hope you do well.